Hi, I just returned from a 10-day trip to India where I was scholar in residence, and it was an unbelievable experience. India is totally different to anything you've ever experienced. I think there is a huge, tremendous amount of Jewish history there, different Jewish communities, the B'nai Israel, the Cochin Jews, Paradesi, the Malabar Jews, the Baghdadi Jews, contemporary Israeli backpackers. It's an amazing amount of Jewish history. There are synagogues which are magnificent. There are natural scenes which are beautiful. There's wildlife. It's an amazing country. Very, very interesting. But one of the things that really struck me was the traffic. There is a lot of traffic. Mumbai, Delhi, Kolkata, etc. I mean, just unbelievable amounts of traffic. And it appears to be chaotic. There are multiple lanes. It's not possible to tell which lane is which. I mean, the zebra crossings and the lines on the road appear to be completely decorative in nature. And this appears to be ignored. Signs appear to be ignored. The police don't seem to be involved much. Cars will occasionally go on the wrong side of the road in order to get to a turnoff which is not accessible from their side of the road. Our bus did this several times. There are a huge variety of vehicles, tour buses, regular buses, school buses. There are cars, regular cars. There are three-wheel tuk-tuks, the two-stroke motors steered by a motorcycle handlebars, which are a type of taxis. There are rickshaws, bicycle rickshaws, human rickshaws. There are people pushing carts. There are occasional donkey-drawn carts. It's unbelievable. And they all are within literally centimeters, inches of each other. And although this is not scientifically, statistically significant, I did not see one accident the entire time we were there. I drive from New Jersey to Manhattan every day. I see accidents almost every day. Also, what I did not see there was road rage. I did not see people screaming or cursing at each other. I did not see people giving each other the finger. I did not see, there was a lot of tooting, but they seemed to use the horn instead of the indicator. So it was not tooting in anger, it was just I'm here. Unbelievable. So with this incredibly dense traffic, incredibly large variety of vehicles, almost complete chaos, things seem to flow in an acceptable way. And people seem to go with the flow, and they're chilled about it. As opposed to here in New York and New Jersey, where almost no one is chilled. Everyone is almost maniacal about their going into their driving, etc. I see road rage, I see anger, I see traffic accidents, it's police intervention, and so on and so forth. What's the difference? Very interesting. And I thought there might be 2 or 3 reasons for this. Again, not a scientific investigation, but number one, I think there's a greater sense of community in India, and I saw this in other parts of Asia as well, Vietnam and Thailand and China, but a greater sense of community and a less of a focus on the individual. The United States, very famous for the rugged individuality, focus on the individual. De Tocqueville spoke about this, democracy in America, but there is such a thing. And I think that the heavy emphasis on the individual has created a situation where I don't see myself as part of a community. If you see yourself as part of the community of drivers, and everyone is trying to get through, everyone's trying to get to work, everyone's trying to get home, everyone's trying to get to the store, and so on and so forth, you tend to be a little more chilled about it because we're all in the same boat. But if it's me, then everyone else is an opponent. They are in my way. They're trying to get in between me and work. They're trying to stop me from merging. They're trying to stop me from going faster, etc. I see everyone as an opponent, right? Who the law requires that I cannot kill them. I must let them do what they have to, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, it's me versus everyone else. I think there's a greater sense of a feeling of us, a sense of community in many other places that allows things to happen and traffic to flow and people to be a little more chilled, a little less angry about it. A greater sense of community is a good thing to have. So that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is ego. If I feel good about myself, I feel okay. My car is a piece of junk, or I'm driving a bike, or I'm driving a little two-stroke engine called a tuk-tuk, or I'm driving a large tour bus or a Mercedes, or whatever I happen to be driving, if I'm feeling good about myself, if I feel secure in who I am, then I don't need to project my ego through my car. I don't need to project my ego via my driving. I'm okay with letting you merge, even though you are now ahead of me, because big deal. If my ego and my self-respect is dependent upon where I am in the traffic, it's a very sorry and sad situation. If my ego and self-respect depends on the type of car I have, very sad. If my ego and self-respect depends on my getting ahead of you or him or her in the traffic, pathetic. I didn't get the sense just from I've made 3 trips to China, 1 to Vietnam, 1 to Thailand, 1 to India. So in countries where they have pretty bad traffic, and I got the feeling that people's ego, self-respect, and sense of self is not dependent upon the vehicle they are driving, not dependent upon how fast they're going, not dependent upon how far away they are ahead in traffic. Sometimes I get the feeling here that people take it personally, that if I get ahead of them, if I merge ahead of them, etc., they're going to tailgate me from here to Tallahassee. I've never been. I don't know where it is even. But that's the feeling I get, and sometimes people actually express that. So I think a little less ego would be very helpful in that sense. That is number 2. Number 3, I think when things are not tightly regulated, they may flow more organically, more naturally. When things are tightly regulated and there's a lot of rules, etc., so we feel perhaps a little more confined and a little more rigid about it. There's a much more fluidity about the rules, and I think maybe that helps the things to flow, traffic to flow a little more organically. Either way, I think it's a great lesson in life for all of us, whether we're driving or doing anything, is to feel a sense of community. Everyone is out there trying to live, trying to make a living, trying to get to work, etc. Keep that in mind. Very helpful to know that other people and me are very similar. Secondly, that my ego, my self-respect, my sense of self should not be dependent upon things as idiotic as how fast I'm going in the traffic, whether I made the turn first, whether you allowed me merge or someone else merge, etc. That's not who I am. My self-respect, my self-image, my identity is dependent upon my soul, upon things vastly more significant than where I am in traffic, what type of car I have, how fast I'm going. And thirdly, try and be a little more organic about things. I'm not saying to go against the traffic rules. I do not want to be sued or prosecuted, etc. But what I'm saying is, in life in general, and you've made certain rules, right? Try and be a little more flexible about the rules that you've made, and I think things might flow a little more organically, even if the person didn't conform to what I think is fine, even if they, conforming to other ideas, have a little bit of flexibility in the rules that you make, and I think life will be a little better. Maybe traffic will flow better, and maybe you'll get to work on time. It's a little bit of a message I picked up from the traffic in India, and hope it'll be helpful to people in their lives.